we are live. Welcome to Show Me Your Pick. It's October 17th, 2020, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Hope everyone's doing well. Hope you've had a good week. We're going to be covering Deep Purple this week, which is going to include Rainbow and Whitesnake. Got a lot of stuff to cover. Let's bring in our guys here, the legendary rock journalist, the eminable Steve Rosen, right there.
Hey, everybody.
Mr. Brendan B. Square, right there.
Hey, Tony. Hey, Steve. How you guys?
How you doing, Brendan?
Yep.
How's things going this week, guys?
Good. It was a kind of a long week and a short week. If that makes any sense. started out slow and then boom, right to the end. And here we are, Saturday.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So
how you doing, Steve?
Good. I'm good, man. My cat has fleas. And no, that's not the title of a new song. What a drag, let me tell you. So about a week ago, my ankles start itching and I think, oh man, I thought I had a rash, but I never get rashes. I thought, well, they're mosquitoes. And I thought, no way, are there 20 mosquitoes in my house? I thought I had bed bugs. I looked it up and got, those aren't bed bugs bite. And then I look and I see that my cat is scratching, but he's scratching a lot. He's never done that. So I'm in the bedroom, man. I look down and I feel something kind of like bite the top of my foot, and I see this little flea. What a drag, let me tell you.
You don't have to like flea dip it, do you? You have to flea dip your cat.
Well, actually, I'm doing more than that. I'm having the house fumigated on Tuesday, wow. So we have to be out of the house for 4 hours, and then that same morning, I'm taking him to the vet so he can get all cleaned up and. I put a flea collar on him, but those things don't work. It's an organic flea collar. And I think to work, you got to have all those chemicals that can make a cat sick, but that's what kills a flea. So anyway, fleas, what a drag, man.
Well, but, good. I'm glad you called somebody. You can't do that yourself.
Yeah. And, it's like, you can look online and it says, well, this is what you can do to get rid of the fleas in your cat. Well, yeah, you might be able to, but in the meantime, those freaking little suckers are nesting in the mattress and in the, it's like, so. But yeah, so I should have bigger worries in my life. But on the positive side, I had an email from Classic Rock, which is one of the best magazines around. I mean, it's dealing with all the bands we love, and two, the writing in that magazine is really. Those guys are just exceptional writers. Anyway, they had called me or emailed me. They want me to do like a little tribute obituary piece on Ed. So, so I've been working on that. So that's been pretty cool.
Wow, cool.
Yeah,
man, going through some interviews and stuff that I haven't used before. I done a bunch of interviews with Alex, and for the book. Back in the day, which never got used. So I've got all this stuff from Alex, and I've got some cool stuff from Michael Anthony. So yes, I've been writing that.
Has anybody else reached out to you since last week, Steve, or no?
Well, it's funny. I mean, I've had people kind of Facebooking me and a bunch of that. I had the response to the Facebook thing I put up was pretty nice actually.
Right.
And for the hell of it, I actually put out a couple little feelers about to some publishers about, toying with the idea of maybe writing a book. I don't know. I don't know if I have that in me. But I had one publisher get back to me, said they want to think about it and talk it over. I said, yeah, great. In fact, I'm sorry, I had two publishers. Actually, there was a publisher in Japan who reached out. And, Ed in Japan was... he was big here. In Japan, he was...
Oh, it's huge. Huge.
He was a god. He was. So, yeah, so we'll see what happens,
Cool. Good.
Yeah.
I hope you write that, Steve.
Yeah, man, we'll see. We'll see. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Had I done everything I wanted to do, had I done all the Van Halen interviews and everything, well, had I done all the interviews back in the day, the book would have come out back in the day, but I never did all the interviews because I had never wanted to kind of, see it through to completion. So I don't know. Part of me thinks, oh God, coming out the book now, it's like,
you
all
never,
I need is to be
visited. You really never know.
Be visited by his ghost and say, Rosen, you fucker, what are you doing? It's like, it's like, I don't need that in my life, so, or anybody saying that, even though I'm sure there are already books in the works right now, but.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So, so we'll see.
Who's here? Brandon?
Yeah.
Want to give a little roll call here for us?
Sure. Let me see. I'm going to scroll up to the top. So I see Lenny Lou and Mary. I'm here. Sandra's here. Big G Gary's here. Hi, Gary. Thomas Santiago.
Lenny Lou.
Thomas, yeah. And what else? I think Hal Face is in. Guitar Hack. People are starting to come in. So everybody else, welcome. Tell your friends. Get them in here. Hit that like button. Subscribe. Welcome.
Welcome, everybody. Yeah. Nice to see you guys. Yeah, they're starting to roll in. So, Steve, Ritchie Blackmore, Deep Purple. These guys began in like 68.
Yeah.
When did they arrive on your radar screen back there then?
Well, I'll tell you, my buddy, Chris Kinderman, who was actually my best friend in high school, was a huge Purple fan. And he kept saying to me, man, you got to listen to this band, Deep Purple. And I'd never heard, I don't think I'd even heard of them. I mean, this has to be right around 68, that first record. So 53, 63, I was 15. I didn't know shit, and he was into him, and I remember hearing either he must have played some of the record for me. And in all honesty, that first Purple record, it's and they did those really long covers, and it wasn't great. It was pre-Ian Gillan, they had oh man, my brain, that original singer, sorry guys, but he was a singer before Ian Gillan. And I remember saying to him, I go, man, and I don't know why I said this, apropos of nothing. I said, man, they could be so much better. And I don't even know what that meant. I don't even know why I said that. And I guess that they would fulfill that, when, kind of In Rock and Machine Head. I mean, that was the Purple I loved. But I actually saw Purple in 68. They opened for Cream at the Inglewood Forum. And
nice.
So this must have been the first record. And again, I wasn't that into them. And I don't even think I listened to them. Only thing I can remember is the guitar player, who I now know was Ritchie Blackmore. I mean, I'm sure I must have known his name was Ritchie Blackmore, but, I can remember him, and he was playing a 335. I think this was even before he was playing a Strat. Right. I remember him taking the 335 and like tossing it straight up in the air, and it'd come back down and he'd catch it. And I just thought, holy fuck, that is just the coolest thing I'd ever seen. But other than that, man, I couldn't tell you how they sounded or anything. So we fast forward 1972. I am in England hitchhiking with my buddy, Chris Kinderman, and I had just started to write. And there was a guy, and I may have told a bit of this tale before, named Mark Yandell. Mark was the music editor for a little sleazy newspaper called the LA Star. It's like a softcore porn newspaper that people used to buy to look for the massage ads in the back, you know. Hey, Sweet Emily will give you a good rub down for $50, you know. We all know what that meant. But they had a little music section. And I remember seeing this music section. I remember, you know, at the time I was writing to everybody, hey, I'm a writer and I want to write for you. And I mean, I was writing everybody, you know, Cream and Circus, you know, guitar player. I mean, you know, not knowing shit what their, you know, curriculum was or what kind of, you know, stories they ran. And I remember going to see T-Rex at the Palladium. And I remember getting this copy of the LA Star in the mail a couple of weeks later. I'm going, why would I be on the LA Star's mailing list? And it turns out this guy ran the review. And then he ran another review about West Bruce and Lang. And I told the guy, I said, listen, man, I'm going to England. Do you know anybody in England? He goes, man, I know everybody. And he gave me a list of names and numbers. And I thought they were all fake. I thought there's no way this guy, the editor for this sleazy little tabloid, knows these people. So I go to England with Chris, and we actually hitchhiked around Europe for a while. Then we came back to the UK, and I start calling these numbers, and every single number was valid. And he had the number for this guy named Tony Brainsby, who was doing publicity for Deep Purple. Tony was the guy who was doing publicity for Wings. And I think I may have told the story about, you know, seeing Wings in Birmingham, and kind of sitting in on this press conference with these other writers with Paul McCartney. And so I went and saw Purple play at this little place called the Roundhouse in '72. I think this must have been like Machine Head era, I think. And they were unbelievable. Just unbelievable. So fast forward a couple more years, and Purple are one of the three co-headliners along with Sabbath and ELP at the California Jam with all those hundreds of thousands of people. I had actually gotten there the night before with my brother and my brother's friend, and we actually slept in the van. Well, little did we know that Ontario, which is kind of like in the middle of the desert, gets fucking cold at night for a desert, you know. And we're in this metal van, you know. I don't think we wouldn't have had, we may have had sleeping bags, but I mean, it was like being in an ice box. I mean, it is freezing in there. So finally the sun's coming up. And so I had like passes for the pit. And pit was like this, you know, a little area right in front of the stage. And so there was like all these bands on before them. The Eagles were there. Oh God, I can't even remember all the bands. I mean, there were a lot of bands. So finally the sun starts going down and Purple come on, and they were amazing. You know, this was the Burn era. So it was Coverdale and Glenn Hughes, and they were unbelievable. And Ritchie's dancing around, you know, and tossing his guitar and dancing on his guitar. He smashes his guitar. Actually, what he did was he smashes like a second, meaning it wasn't an expensive guitar. It was a cheap, I don't even know if it was a Fender. I mean, it might have had a Fender neck, but it was a cheap guitar. And so he smashes it up, and he tosses the body out into the pit, and he tosses the neck out into the pit. Well, this neck lands right in front of me. So I grab onto the neck, and the truss rod had been broken, and it was protruding through the back of the neck. And I'm holding on this neck, and there's everybody else grabbing on this neck. And I swear to God, man, this truss rod is like going to sever my hand. I mean, it's going to rip my hand off. So I let the neck go, you know, much to my chagrin, but which kind of sucked. But they made a documentary about that. And if you look closely, they show the neck being thrown. Sorry. At the end of the show, Ritchie actually pushed some cabinets into the pit. These were dummy cabinets. I don't think they had.
I've
speakers.
seen that before. I've seen that.
Yeah.
I've seen that video.
And as they go down, they pan around the audience, and you can kind of see me. I'm actually there with my brother. So let's fast forward again. Just a few months later, And Ritchie has left. I'm sorry. Fast forward a few months later, December 74, I fly out to St. Paul, Minnesota to see Purple perform. Same burn lineup. So this is my first time meeting Ritchie. So before the show, there's like a little cocktail party. And so I'm there, and I'm kind of looking around, and I see John Lord in the corner, and I see Coverdale's here, and Ritchie wasn't there. And I didn't expect him to be. I mean, the little I knew about Ritchie, I just couldn't imagine him showing up at an afternoon little cocktail party, you know what I mean? So Cameron Crowe was there. And Cameron, for those of you who don't know Cameron was the boy wonder. Cameron was like doing cover stories in Rolling Stone at 15. Cameron would go on to do Fast Times at Ridgemont High and produce many films. Jerry Maguire, he'd marry Nancy Wilson, the blonde guitar player in Heart, and get divorced. So you can be a famous kid wonder and still go through a divorce, right? So
I still have a crush on
Sour Beans talking about. Yeah, she was amazing, man. So Cameron was there, and I was just kind of sitting there, and I didn't drink. I may have said before, I used to get migraines, and if I even looked at a cocktail, man, I'd get a migraine, and I just couldn't take that chance. So I was just kind of sitting there, and Cameron said, "Hey, man, go get a drink." I said, "Oh, man, I don't drink." He said, "Man, go get a drink." Someone got a diet tab or a Coke or whatever it was, So I'm standing there in the corner, just drinking my drink, just kind of looking at everybody. And I see John Lord start to walk over to me, and he does not look happy. And I'm going, "Oh my God, what have I couldn't imagine what I'd done." So I'm kind of sitting there, and as I'm sipping the drink, he says, "Where the fuck did you get that drink?" And I go, "I got it at the bar." He says, "Who said you could get a drink at the bar?" I said, "Well, Cameron did. He said it was okay." I said, "I'll go pay for the drink." I didn't want to bother anybody. He goes, "Oh man," and he realized, he says, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." And I mean, he was so apologetic. He goes, "Man, I'm so sorry. God, people would sneak in here, man, and they'd order 20 mixed drinks, and they would charge you to Deep Purple's tab, and people would charge drinks to Purple's tab in their rooms, man. So I totally apologize." But man, it's totally cool. I mean, he must have apologized 1,000 times, a real gentleman, this guy. And so a few minutes later, Coverdale walks by. I think he had heard what went on. He goes, "Oh, hey, I'm sorry that happened." I go, "No, man, not at all." And he goes, "Glad you're here." I mean, he was great. And I would meet David many times over the course of the years. And he was always like that, man, a really welcoming guy, man, just really open, greeted me with open arms. So I go back to my room, a few hours pass, and it's the night for the gig. And they must have sent a car for me. And so I go, and I had a backstage pass, and I had a camera with me. I thought, oh, maybe I could, take some pictures, Let me backtrack for 3 minutes. I had earlier gone to Japan with Humble Pie. This must have been in 73. And the manager, D. Anthony, bought a camera for me, a Nikon FTN, which at the time was like the camera. I mean, it was an expensive camera. I didn't know how to use it for shit. So anyway, I'm there with my camera and my little cassette player. So they usher me backstage, into the inner sanctum, where the band were hanging out. And they kind of, bring me around to where Ritchie is. And he's warming up. So he's standing up, and he's got his foot up. I don't know if you can see my foot. He's got it up on a little practice Fender, and he's got his, Strat on, and he's practicing scales, and he's playing. And, so they introduced me, and he may have stopped playing to say hello, or he may not have. Honestly, I don't remember. He probably did. He probably said hi or something. And he goes back to warming up, and I'm watching him, and, it is just extraordinary. Like I said, I'd seen Yngwie up close playing, and I'm watching Ritchie, and this is otherworldly stuff, and he's doing his little, staccato things and this classical stuff. And, I mean, it's Ritchie Blackmore. I mean, so we start talking, and I forget what I say to them. Probably something, first question, something like, well, Ritchie, David and Glenn are in the band. Ian is gone and Roger's gone. Glover the bass player. I mean, it must be a totally new experience for you. What's it like? Blah blah blah. And he goes, yeah, man. It's he says something like, well, yeah, man. It's different. It's the bag end shot of the moon, once rising over the three sails, and then the cats will play on the guitars. And I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, well, I misheard him. His accent is so thick, I hadn't heard him correctly, or he's talking nonsense. So I just, jumped to think he's, I misunderstood what he was saying. So I say, well, man, the Burn record is fucking brilliant. And I didn't use fucking. I would never cuss like that. I said the Burn record was unbelievable. I mean, my God, it's some of the best playing I've ever heard from you. He goes, yeah, man, it was special. It was 13 times the railroad cars. When I saw the little girl in the yellow dress walking down the road by the wolf in the black coat. So there's a couple of roadies around him, and they're busting up. And Ritchie's kind of keeping a straight face. And, brilliant mind that I have, I deduce that, well, Ritchie's, making fun of the writer. And it's like an English double speak, It's almost like what John Lennon used to do when he used to talk like in this double speak and that kind of thing. Well, it's like this English double speak, that they would do amongst themselves, and it was like an in thing. So I asked him another question. He does the same thing. And I said something to him. I said, Ritchie, I said, I flew a long way to interview you. I mean, you're like one of my favorite guitar players, and it really means a lot for me to be here. If you're going to treat me like that, then, I don't know if I said, let's stop the interview, because I don't know if I would have had the balls to say that. But I just said, I don't understand. And he got it. He chilled out a little bit. And I think I walked away with a decent interview. I don't think it was great. And that always left a bad taste in my mouth. So fast forward a little bit to the show. I mean, he played so fucking unbelievably. He let me stand on the side of the stage, and I was literally 6 feet away from him, and I'd be taking pictures, and I should show some of these pictures. And even though I was 6 feet away with a perfect view of him, these pictures are so bad. I mean, the joke is, well, like, is that Ritchie Blackmore? Is that, Steve Marriott? When I saw Pie, is that, it's like you can't even tell who it is. At one point in time, he takes a champagne bottle and he does it up and he kind of points it at me, in a friendly gesture, but once in a while he'd kind of look over at me like he was looking over so I could take his picture and stuff. But so that was my first experience with Ritchie. So we fast forward to about a year later. So it's 1975. Ritchie has quit Purple, or got kicked out, whatever you want to say. I mean, Ritchie really quit. So Tommy Bolin comes in, and Ritchie has started Rainbow, and so I don't know how it got hooked up, but I drove out to Ritchie's house. Ritchie lived in Oxnard, which is about 60 miles from where I was living in the Hollywood Hills, in a nice house. He was leasing the house. So I meet him, thinking, oh my God, it's gonna be the same Ritchie, but he was really cool, man. Maybe because he was, flogging Rainbow and, wanting to get that word out there. I don't know, but he was really cool. We talked all about Rainbow and how it was different, and we talked about some of the Purple records, Machine Head and In Rock. And he was great. He was really cool. And Ronnie Dio was there. Obviously, Ronnie is the singer in Rainbow. And after speaking with Ritchie, I talked to Ronnie, who is just, remarkably cool and nice and professional. And, it's funny. I mean, Ronnie had a little bit of success with, Elf, the band he was in prior to Rainbow.
Right.
Nothing.
Right.
It was nothing huge, So, I mean, to be in Rainbow, to be the singer in Ritchie Blackmore's band, I mean, that was a pretty big deal. But he looked at it like, like it was a gig, and he was a professional. And it wasn't like he was blown away by that. And I thought that was the coolest fucking thing, that he wasn't in awe of Ritchie, that it was, he realized it was a great opportunity, and he was going to bring his A game and do everything he could. But, wasn't like, yeah, God, I'm so lucky to be in Ritchie Blackmore's. It was just none of that. And I thought, God, to have that kind of self-confidence, that's a hard thing to come by. And I always respected that. I'd go on to interview Ronnie several times, and he was always like that. He got the gig in Sabbath. It was the same thing. Yeah, man, I'm in Sabbath, and I'm just gonna do what I do, and that's what it is. Yeah, so that was cool.
So Steve, Ronnie James Dio, wasn't he replaced in Rainbow by Graham Bonnet? Am I correct?
I don't know my Rainbow chronology real well. Could have been Graham. Yeah, Graham came in and did that one great song written by Russ Ballard. Everything go. The one real poppy song on.
Graham was there in 79 and 80. 79 and 80.
I'm sorry, say it again.
I said Graham was 79, 80.
Yeah, so there must have been some other singers in there.
There's a bunch.
Graham did that song Since You've Been Gone.
I love that song.
Graham did.
Love that song. Yeah, Ronnie Romero. I think Ronnie Romero was the name you were looking for before Ian Gillan.
I think Rainbow, most of us remember Joe Lynn Turner era.
Yeah.
I know I do.
Yeah, I suppose. I guess I'm sorry. Go ahead, Joe.
Us younger guys, I guess.
Oh, well, fuck you.
I didn't mean it like that, baby. No.
Fuck you.
When Rainbow came on my radar screen, it was Joe Lynn Turner.
I know, and he probably had those.
I was born in 68, so.
Yeah, well, I'm still fucking older than you, dickhead. Older than everybody. I'm fucking older than air.
You look better than we do, though, Steve. So.
You do, Steve.
But yeah, no, but Joe Lynn Turner, he had a couple of those big songs. He had a couple of those really good songs. So long, man, you so good. Oh fuck. Anyway, he had a couple.
Stone Cold.
I guess for me, I'm sorry.
Stone Cold. Yeah.
Stone Cold. That's another favorite. Yep.
Right.
And In the Dark, wasn't that another one? Wasn't that another Joe Lynn Turner song?
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess. Yeah. I guess for me it was just Ronnie, because it was the first record, and I was there.
We're children of MTV, so
Yeah, if there was a video or something, I definitely saw it.
Yeah. I mean, I never thought that first Rainbow record was that good. Honestly, I mean, some of the Rainbow records had moments. It just, to me, it felt like Ritchie was just kind of, I don't know, slumming it. I mean, if you compare it to those Purple records he did, at least for me, I don't know.
I agree. Yeah.
Was Ritchie a big drinker? Do you know?
No.
Because I don't know. My wife saw Rainbow and Dokken and Aldo Nova back in '83 in my town, and I didn't know her then, but she said, the guitars from Rainbow came out, and he was playing, and he just so wasted he just fell down, and they couldn't pick him up.
Wow.
They couldn't get him going.
Oh,
So I don't know if it
wow.
was him
Weird.
or not. I don't know if it was Blackmore or maybe somebody else, but or another guitarist. But it was just
interesting. I mean, I don't think he drank. I don't think he really did drugs. I mean, yeah, he might have, like everybody did. He may have dabbled
sure.
back in the day, but I mean, in the few times that I've been around him, at functions and not just before a gig where he may not have been drinking. I mean, may have had a beer. I can remember seeing.
Yeah, I was going to say. I mean, it could have been something else, but she was just saying,
Yeah,
I think I have a rainbow story. I'm like, okay, I'll bring it up and we'll see.
I can remember seeing Ritchie. This must have been in the 90s, and it might have been Blackmore's night by then. I don't know if Rainbow was still going, but he played at a club out here that used to be Gazzari's, the famous club where Van Halen played and all those bands played on the Strip. It was called the Key Club. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it was a small club, so for Ritchie Blackmore to be playing that, I was like, those were mighty steps down. And he played so badly, man. It was embarrassing. It was some bad guitar player imitating a bad guitar player imitating Ritchie Blackmore. I mean, he obviously did not care in the least, and to be out there playing and doing that, I mean, I guess that's what you do. I guess it's different if you're really trying to play and do it, but you could tell he was just going through motions. And I've heard this from a lot of people that, he just didn't care anymore. But that was a sad thing to say. But I will tell you about the best interview I did with Ritchie was in '77 when I got together with him to do what would become the cover story and Guitar Player. He was staying at the Sunset Marquee, and I mean, if he had been on his best behavior at that Rainbow interview, man, he was like a little kid on this day. I mean, he was like open, man, and he was talking about his early days, talking about his Strats and what he did to him. I mean, it was great. I mean, I was really happy with that interview. I mean, he was unbelievably open, and willing to talk about stuff, and just really cool. And he was supposed to have brought a guitar because we were going to take photos. Neil Zlozauer, my good buddy Neil. Yeah, that's the Rainbow interview. And you can see my very expensive $3 cassette microphone. Oh, God. Yeah. There's also a Dio photo from that same day, the same night. So Ritchie didn't have a guitar. So I must have run home, or maybe I knew he wasn't going to bring a guitar. I can't remember. But I had brought a guitar with me. The same guitar that I had brought. And if anybody here had been listening to my Jeff Beck cast a few weeks back, was a 73 Strat I had brought to a Jeff Beck interview that Jeff also played. This all maple Strat. That was an unbelievable guitar. Anyway, I have some pictures of Ritchie holding that guitar, and me kind of doing my famous thing where I'd be next to the guy, and I always be doing the E chord, and usually the guy would be standing on this side, so he'd be doing the strum, and I'd be playing the E chord. So that was pretty fun. So cue forward another. Must be several years, and Ritchie is in Blackmore's Night, which I thought was just about the worst thing I'd ever heard. Ritchie not only playing music that nobody wanted to hear, he wasn't even playing an electric guitar. I mean, he's playing acoustic guitar, Renaissance music. I mean, Jesus. I mean, that was horrific. I mean, what bet did he lose? Yeah, there he is. if you can read that inscription, somehow I was talking with Ronnie about I was a guitar player and stuff, and Ronnie says, "Hey man, if you ever need a singer, give me a call." And that's how cool Ronnie was.
That's cool.
So that was great. So I'm talking to Ritchie, and I hadn't spoken to him. I mean, it must have been, 77 could have been the last time I spoke to him. So I mean, we're talking, 20 years, 18 years. So I said, man, it's been a long time. I said, so much has happened. He goes,
Did
much.
he ever talk about the time when he was pissed at Ian Gillan and he poured ketchup all over his dinner? I think it was in Cleveland. And then, I heard this story. I guess he those guys hated each other eventually, right? But he got really pissed at Ian, he got really pissed at Ian. And Ian pissed him off. He poured ketchup all over his meal. And I think Blackmore just threw it in his face. Like, man.
I believe it.
Yeah. Too funny.
I believe it. Oh, that brings up a story, Brendan. Sorry.
Yeah, no, good.
Sometime after that guitar player interview, there was some kind of a little luncheon for Ritchie. I think it was for Ritchie. At some restaurant on Sunset Boulevard. And if I've told this story before and you've heard it, well, you're going to sit through it again. So I'm sitting there, and my buddy Neil Slowzauer is there, the photographer, and we're eating. And I'm eating my salad, and I feel something conk me on the side of the head, And, I look around and I go, what the hell, I'm looking around and there's nothing. I thought, well, maybe somebody had walked by and accidentally knocked me with their elbow, but it was pretty freaking hard, So I'm, eating my salad, and I feel it again. This time it's harder. And I fucking look around and I don't see anything. And I see Neil sitting at a table next to me, and he is busting up. And I'm looking at him, and I see him kind of staring over, and I see back over in the corner, Ritchie is sitting in the fucking corner. He had hurled this fucking luncheon roll at me from like 30 feet and conked me on the side of the fucking head.
Oh man!
I thought I was concussed. It was fucking. It wasn't like a soft dinner roll. This was like a well-cooked fucking luncheon roll, man.
Jeez. I guess he liked to throw food,
I'm looking
man.
over, and Richie's kind of a deadpan, and that's what Ritchie was, man. It was a deadpan. When I interviewed him. Back when I flew out to interview him, and he was doing a double talk, it's not like he'd bust out laughing. He was always like this serious grin. So he was always deadpan, He never laughed at his own jokes. And I'm kind of looking, and he kind of looks up, I look down. And in Ritchie's strange way, he could have been saying, "Hey, man, how are you? Good to see you."
It might have been.
Ritchie being affectionate. Yeah, man, I'm happy he didn't throw a fucking fork at me.
No shit.
Hell, he could have thrown a butter knife.
Hey, Tony.
So,
Tony, do you have is there going to be trivia? Is there a trivia question? Do you have a giveaway this week?
Yeah, there is. Let's
right. Not to derail you, Steve, but I'm sure people are looking for free stuff. People are always looking for free stuff. I don't know. They always are.
We're going to have a trivia question later on in the show that will pertain to Deep Purple or Rainbow or Whitesnake. Not giving that away, but we are giving away a Ritchie Blackmore guitar pick.
Ooh.
And these things, they're kind of hard
to. Yeah, nice.
Oh yeah, those are the arrow ones, arrow looking ones.
Yeah. For some reason he's the only guy that I ever knew using those shaped picks.
Yeah, I've never even seen those before. I saw his.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that is the.
I think we lost. I think we don't hear you anymore, Tony.
Lost audio, Tony.
You on another cam? Another mic? Oh, mute and come back.
How about now?
Good. You're good.
Yeah.
All right. Good. All right. So Steve, I wanted to ask you, Blackmore in the video that I saw where you're down there in the pit and Blackmore trashes the guitar, chunks the cabinets out, did he do that a lot, or was that just one time he did that?
Yeah, I don't think he ever threw the cabinets over like that. And again, those were dummy cabinets. There were no speakers in them. You know, I'm sure that they were intact. You know, after they hit, I'm sure the crew went and got those. But I think he'd trash a guitar once in a while. Again, these guitars were seconds. You know, they were probably given to him. You know, I mean, I think he may have. I don't even know if he even played them. He may have just, you know, played his regular Strat. And towards the end of the last song, he may have just, you know, tossed his Strat, I can't remember, to his roadie.
Like the Paul Stanley at the end of a Kiss show. Right.
Yeah, but not that we're going to try to compare Paul Stanley to Ritchie Blackmore, but...
No, but just...
If you're going to make your comparisons...
Here's my Ibanez, now give me the trash guitar and I'll trash it. Right.
I know, man. I'm giving you a hard time. But yeah, he would trash these guitars once in a while. You know, unlike Townsend back in the day, who was trashing legitimate, you know, Rickenbackers and Strats and Marshalls. Unbelievable, you know, how those guys ever survived that.
That always bothered me, man, when people would destroy stuff. But I guess if you have that kind of money and that kind of stuff coming at you, I don't know. I could never do it.
No, absolutely.
I could never do it. You know?
Eventually they did, but I'm talking the early days when they were playing clubs. I mean, he was trashing stuff, and I mean they had no money. But yeah, it's unbelievable. But I remember him telling me they were playing at some small club that had a really low ceiling, and he was playing, and the audience isn't, you know, there's no response or anything, and he accidentally broke off the headstock on the ceiling, and he said the crowd went insane. So he said,
was it a Gibson?
Moment,
Early days of Gibson.
Yeah, some of those early Rickenbackers weren't very sturdy either.
Wow.
But, yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
So Steve, when Whitesnake started, Dave Coverdale started that, and he had lots of guys. John Sykes playing guitars, Aldridge, Ainsley Dunbar in there.
Drummer. Ainsley was a drummer.
You do
Marsden,
much.
He's a really good guitar player. Mickey Moody.
Yeah. Were those? Now he left. I guess Deep Purple's 76, maybe. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Because Whitesnake started, what, 78? I think Whitesnake started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Did you speak with John Sykes and these guys, Ainsley and these fellas in Whitesnake as interviews?
I actually did interview Ainsley, but I don't think he wasn't in Whitesnake. I actually interviewed him because I wanted to talk to him about playing with Jeff Beck. He played with Jeff Beck way back in the day. I mean, it's just like Truth era. He played with Beck for a short period, and I wanted to talk to him for that. So this is way before. I mean, this is in the 70s. John Sykes I did interview, and I can't remember. Oh, I think John was in Blue Murder. That was a band with Carmine Appice and Tony Franklin. So I'm guessing that's after Whitesnake. Again, I'm not sure my chronology.
Red Beach.
After he left.
Red Beach, too, was in Whitesnake.
Yeah, exactly.
A bunch of people were in Whitesnake. A bunch of heavy hitters
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, for David, it was always... I mean, he could have called it the David Coverdale band. Well, Steve Vai and Adrian Vandenberg.
Yeah.
But But I mean, it could have been called the David Coverdale Band for all that matter. I mean, it was really, I mean, it was David's band. He wrote everything, you know.
Sure.
But he had the keen eye to surround himself with great players. I mean, he wasn't dumb.
No.
He had a bunch of great players. Viv Campbell, Rudy, Red Beach, Steve Vai. Actually spent some time.
Ian Pace.
Yeah.
Neil Murray, really good bass player. Yeah, so I actually met David the first time. Well, I mean, I met him in '74 for 5 seconds, when we said hello, and then I met him for the first time in '79. It was the Love Hunter album, and he was great. I mean, he was the same guy. Talked a lot. Very smart guy, knowledgeable guy. Very cool guy. That night, let me back up. I also interviewed Bernie Marsden, who was the guitar player during that period and on that album. I don't know if I interviewed Bernie the next day or before David, but we got along great. And we started talking about Jeff Beck, and he was a massive Jeff Beck fan. So we just kept talking about Jeff and all this stuff. And so they're rehearsing at SIR. They're in town for a few days, and they're rehearsing. And sorry. They're rehearsing. So Bernie invites me down to rehearsal. And that night is a Jewish holiday. There's like 2 Jewish holidays a year. When I would go to temple, and I told my brother, I said, Mick, listen, I got invited down to a Whitesnake rehearsal, Ian Pace. I said, do we blow it off and go to temple, or do we blow off temple and go to SIR? And as much as he didn't want to blow off temple, he says, and I might have been me. I probably talked him into it. I said, look, man, how do we not go to CSIR? So I was a bad Jew for a night. Thought for sure we were going to get, I thought our car was going to get struck down driving up there to SIR, So we get there, and they're in one of the big SIR rehearsal rooms. And I mean, it is a massive room. I mean, it is huge. And they have all the gear set up on stage. This has been a dress rehearsal for one of the shows. I mean, this wasn't just like a little rehearsal. This was like a full deal. I mean, they may not have had all the lights, but I mean, all the gear was there. And as soon as I walk in, Bernie Marsden starts playing the riff to a Jeff Beck song. He sees me walk in, and he starts playing a song called "Let Me Love You" off the Truth record. Because he sees me walk in, and he does that. And I told Mick I'd interviewed Bernie, and he was a huge Beck fan. So Mick hears it, and I hear it, and we're walking in, and he's playing this Jeff Beck riff out of these Marshalls, and it's fucking massive, and that was pretty great. Yeah, man, we watched this rehearsal, and it was pretty unbelievable.
That's
pretty cool.
Definitely cool.
Pretty cool. Yeah. So, Tony, you almost done showing pics, dude?
I was, again, with the MTV kid growing up, of course, everybody knows the Here I Go Again and the Tony Katane videos, so.
Yeah.
But man, jeez.
Yeah, exactly.
That opened up a lot of stuff.
Yeah, definitely. It's funny because he comes from like a really rootsy, bluesy R&B background. He did a couple solo records. I think these are like even pre-Purple, and they may have come out subsequently, but I mean, these are like, acoustic guitars and I mean, almost folky stuff. So it's a pretty interesting guy.
Yeah.
Met him a couple times afterwards. I remember doing a phone interview with him, and the first thing he goes, "Is this the Steve Rosen?" I go, "Yeah, man, how you doing?" So I mean, that was pretty cool, That was pretty cool. So
yeah, definitely cool. I mean, he did Coverdale Page. That's got to mean something, right? Coverdale Page.
What's that? I'm sorry, say it again, Brendan.
Remember Coverdale Page era too.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's funny. I don't think I.
Go ahead.
God, I must have interviewed him after he did that, but for the life of me, I can't remember talking to him about Page. That is, I mean, I must have interviewed him.
You had to.
Senility, man. But he did that. Yeah, absolutely. I actually thought that was better than Page and the Firm, even though I love Paul Rodgers and I like him as a singer more than David. I just thought that the Firm was.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty weak, but some of that Coverdale Page stuff was okay, actually. But David was cool, man. Very cool guy, and the revolving doors with guitar players. I mean, I think at a point in time he just likes to move on. I mean, I'm sure he treats his guitar players well. Who knows what the money thing is like or the songwriting thing is like. And most of those guys, Doug Aldrich and Reb, I mean, they're going to go out and do their own stuff anyway. Steve Vai, there's no way Steve Vai was going to stay at Whitesnake, for his entire life. But,
No, but then Reb Beach did Winger, and so I don't know what was better. So poor Winger, man. Beavis and Butthead ruined that for him.
Yeah, and it's really funny because coincidentally, I just did an interview with Reb. I actually interviewed Reb way back in the day during the Winger days, and he seemed like a very nice guy. And I just did which doesn't tell a whole lot, but I did an email interview. It's like these guys can't be bothered to get on a phone anymore. And to be honest, for me to do an email interview is infinitely easier than a phoner. And the email interview, I mean, everything's already typed out. Most of these guys are borderline illiterate, so I got to go in and clean up grammar and punctuation. But everything's done. I don't have to transcribe anything, Okay. It's never as good as a phoner, but so I was watching. Reb just came out with his first solo instrumental record, and it's good. I mean, he's a really good guitar player. Yeah, it's kind of I've heard that before, but I was watching some of those Winger videos, the Headed for a Heartbreak.
Yeah.
And Kip, is there with the open shirt, and the bass and.
Come on,
I mean,
man.
they sold some records, I guess. But,
I don't know, but
you
can't do that now. Like, you try to play 17 now? Nah, not going to go over well.
No, exactly.
But
exactly.
I mean, that was the hairband era. So that's what sold.
Yeah.
Like the open shirt, the teased hair, the stubble. I can see you doing that, Steve. Get the stubble, the long hair. Back in the day, I'm sure you
40
did.
Years ago.
There you go.
Yeah, and wasn't Kip or Reb married to somebody cool? Yeah, Kip had some smoking hot wife.
I'm sure he did. I'm sure. All those guys did at one point. Crazy.
They did, but so Whitesnake, yeah. And they're still around. They're still kicking, I think, right?
Yeah, they're still touring, I think. Yep.
They are.
And now that the guitar player is Joel Hoekstra, right?
Yes.
Yes.
That's right. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Lots of members, and it seems like it's like sports. It's like that too. It used to be, if you're an athlete, you come up and you play your whole career with one team, and it's not like that anymore.
Not
But
anymore.
it's like that in music. I mean, Whitesnake has had, as Steve said, a revolving door of, I mean, Deep Purple too.
Sure.
I mean,
made a fair
they've
amount of
had
money.
a bunch of them. Steve Morse, Satriani spent some time in Deep Purple.
Yeah, but that was like a tour. He toured for a couple of months. He never recorded. Yeah, but yeah, he had a few Steve Morse. Tommy Bolin. Yeah. I mean, Steve Morse has been in the band longer than Ritchie was, I think. It's pretty weird.
Yeah,
But
ultimately.
yeah, man, it's all about now. It's just about, well, certainly in sports as well. It's just about money. I mean, there's no loyalty.
Unfortunately,
What's his name?
yeah.
LeBron James.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's one of the most despicable people on the planet. I'm probably going to get flack for that.
Nah, you won't.
I think he's a remarkable basketball player. I mean, that goes without saying. But I think he's a horrible human being. He jumps to these teams that he hates, and he's bad mouth, and he goes back. And
It's. I mean, I think that's true in almost any industry, though, Steve. Because when I said I do a little bit of acting, right? And those guys when they get up on those award shows, they use it as a platform. And I think I don't know
absolutely.
If it was, I think it was Golden Globes last year. Ricky Gervais was hosting, and it was great because he's like, don't come up here and spew your stuff. He goes, come up here, get your award, say your thank yous, and get the fuck off the stage.
I love that. The guy is amazing.
Yep.
Guy's funny as hell too.
But it's perfect because that's what they're coming to see. They're not coming to hear your opinion on stuff. No. So same with LeBron's. Just dribble the ball, shoot it, and let's go.
God, and now every athlete is a revolutionary, and this is going to get me in trouble. And everyone has something to say, and we can do this together. It's like, where were you before? If you were saying this stuff 10 years ago, it's like, okay, Colin Kaepernick, and I'll get off this quickly. When he knelt down, my God, he was a villain. I never saw one of his buddies come to his defense. And now, oh, Colin, you're great. It just sickens me. And my God,
it's tough. It's tough though. It's tough to see because those guys, they have a lot of fans. They're famous, and that's the way they get things across. It's sad, but and hopefully it'll go back to just people playing sports and playing music, acting, and just that stuff. But that it happens. Like you said, 10 years ago they wouldn't do it, but we didn't have the information we do now. We didn't have the throughput media.
That's the key there. That's the key there. It's the instantaneous media.
I think there's too much information overload. There's too much information overload.
Yeah.
But
right.
Maybe we'll change that one day, hopefully. I don't know. We'll have to see. We can hope.
I know.
So Steve, so Tony, what's your trivia question? I'm sure people are chomping.
Okay.
Yeah,
we can go ahead.
Jump here in about 2 minutes, guys. I'll see. Let me see who wins the guitar pick, and then I got to bail.
All right, Steve. Let's see here. All right, chat folks. We're gonna have one question, and this is going to be a Whitesnake question. All right. So we all kind of know Whitesnake, but you got to really know your Whitesnake in order to, or else I'm going to stump you. So, all right. So we're playing for the Blackmore pick I showed earlier. So here we go. Whitesnake's only number one single was originally on the album Saints and Sinners, released in November of 1982. Name the song. Their only number one. It was released in 82. Name the song.
Smoke on the Water.
That was everybody's first riff, right? Of course.
Just about. You ever watch
right.
2.5 Men?
Yes.
And
Here
the
we
little kids
go.
always playing the Smoke on the Water riff.
Oh, yeah, Hellface. There you go.
Hellface is our winner today. Here we go. All right, so our now it was released in 82 on that particular album, and they did that song live back then. But it was re-released on the big album Whitesnake had that also had the hits Is This Love and Still of the Night. So Here I Go Again, it was actually recorded another time for radio play. It's an alternate version of that is what we hear on rock radio usually.
Cool.
But yeah, Hellface. All right, dude.
Congrats,
I've
Hellface.
got your information, Hellface, and I will be mailing you this Blackmore pick. Let me show you this again, dude.
Hey, Steve, before you go, have you ever seen a slide ukulele? I just built one.
It's a ukulele?
It's a.
Oh, man, that is cool.
There's no frets. Slide ukulele. Great, I broke the neck on one of the guitars I had, and I was like, what can I do with that? I'll make it shorter. Why not?
Wow, that's cool. A ukulele is tuned in fourths?
Well, it's not really a ukulele. I mean, it's
just tuned to an open chord.
Yeah, it's open G. So it's just 3 strings. So.
Oh.
But I used like the light strings, so it kind of sounds like a little banjo-y too, you know?
Yeah, that's great, man.
Kind of cool.
Very cool.
Steve,
very nice.
Before you go, sir, let's bring in our lovely co-producer and moderator. I'm sure she wants to say hello to you, sir. So here she is, lovely Sandra Pokorney.
No, I'm good. No.
Wow.
Don't bother me. I was good.
No. Yeah, Stephen, another amazing show. Thanks for sharing those wonderful memories with us.
Most welcome.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
so
we're worthy.
Everybody. Well, you're getting there. You're almost getting worthiness level.
Okay.
So keep working at it. No.
I'll take what little bit of
sincerely,
credit
everybody.
I can get.
I got a long way to go.
Thanks for everybody showing up, and thanks to all you guys. We will see you next week, okay?
All right, Steve.
Love you.
Have a good one, brother.
Peace.
See you guys.
Later. All right. So this Blackmore video, Deep Purple.
She never showed up, but happy birthday, Janice.
Yeah, I got her on the Facebooks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if anybody runs into her in a chat, today is her birthday. Happy birthday, Janice. La la. So this video that Steve talked about Blackmore trashing a Strat and chunking the cabinets out in the. I've seen this, but Steve is saying that he was at that show in the pit, and this guitar hit him or impaled him or whatever. I'm gonna have to rewatch it.
Sounds to me like you may have a lawsuit there.
Maybe.
You know, you could have lifelong repercussions from that, wood shrapnel.
I think the statute of limitations is over though for instrument harm. I don't know.
Wow.
I'm not sure.
I wonder if anybody's ever sued you. I wonder if anybody's ever sued Blackmore just because he's I can't say it, but yeah. What I will say is I'm not a fan of his attitude. I don't fuck with how he acts. So.
Nah. Tony, did you ever hear?
He can play like hell, though.
Yes,
Tony, did you ever hear the story? I think it was I don't know who said it was Jay though. That's on Johnny Bean, Jay Hannon. Because I've known him for probably almost 20 years. We used to work together, and so we were at a concert. We were at an Anthrax concert, and someone they threw a drumstick out, right? It freaking bounced off my head and landed right in his wife's boobs, right in her cleavage. So he tells that story. Shit. Sometimes I'm like, man, Jeannie owes me a drumstick, but I'm like, I could never sue the. I mean, it like clunk right off my head and boink, So. That's my only Anthrax connection, but it was kind of funny, and that's my only instrument damage.
Oh Lord!
Instrument injury. So it's kind of funny.
How bad was it? Draw blood?
No. I had a little lump. I mean, the guy winged it, man. I don't know if he was mad or what, but he was boom, and it boink off right off my head.
You may not have been the intended target.
I don't think I was. I don't know. Maybe, but it was kind of funny because Jay was there, and it landed right. I think he was dating Jeannie at the time. Right in her cleavage.
Right in the cleavage.
Yep.
Right in the pocket. Nice.
Yep.
What are the odds
Hole
of
in
that?
one. I know.
So she owes me a drumstick.
It's like $1 million shot.
Oh yeah. 1 in a million, Doc. 1 in a million. Funny. Good deal.
It is. Guys. Yeah. Guys and girls in the chat, we appreciate you coming out. Leave a like on your way out, and if you're not subscribed, please subscribe.
Why wouldn't you be?
Yeah, if you're not, what are you waiting for?
Yeah, it's free.
Lots of cool content here each week, and next week it's going to be, I'm not sure who, but it's going to be a good band. We got lots of memorabilia, lots of guitar picks we're going to show you. And yeah.
Hit the links in the description.
Yeah, you'll just have to wait and see. Wait for the promo. And yep, I'm sure it'll be a good one.
We have that out on Monday. I make the promo of next week's show on Monday, so you can get eyes and ears on that. Let me give another plug.
Oh, thank
you. If you want a guitar made, here is his contact info.
I just finished and sold number 59. So,
cool.
Nice.
So I'm up to number 59. Number 60 is the next build.
Oh God, Mitch, I'm sorry.
Ooh. Godspeed to your niece, Mitch.
Yeah, they're taking out my dead one sometime soon. I don't know when, and then they got to try to fix my other one.
Well, the good thing is you can be okay with one. Good thing.
Yeah.
Damn.
Right.
My thoughts will be with you and her.
Good luck.
Yeah,
Good luck,
Mitch. Absolutely. Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah. Are you working on one now, Brendan? Are you working on a
I
guitar?
I just finished one. So right now I've got a art show coming up, Thanksgiving Black Friday weekend. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna mostly people buy the lamps. So I just made this one. If you guys could see behind me, as a standing lamp I made with a bunch of stacked cigar boxes there, and I got a couple up here. But yeah, I'm gonna start putting together a few guitars. I usually take 2 or 3 with me to the show, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
But thanks for the plug, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. And his links are down in the show in the description. So
God knows I posted them 100 times in the chat for y'all. If you ain't hit it and clicked it now, I guess you ain't never gonna.
Probably
so
sorry.
Yeah, no, it's all good.
Your show, Sandra, is coming up here in
shortly, yes.
A couple more hours, hour and change.
We'll be conversing with the ever elusive Brian S. of Loudwire fame and Evil Jumps Gear.
Cool.
I think we may even have a special appearance by Evil himself. I don't know. You'll have to tune in.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
You never know what's going to happen on my show. It could be just totally fucked chaos. We'll just roll with it.
Those are the fun ones.
What else can you do except
Yeah,
right?
Excellent.
I know.
So yeah, tune in.
All right. Well, guys and girls, we are going to shove off. Hope everybody has a great week. I appreciate you being here. I certainly do. I hope you come back next week. It'll be me and Steve, Brendan, and Sandra, and who knows who else. Lots of cool memorabilia, guitar picks, lots of cool interview stories. Steve has interviewed everybody, absolutely everybody. All right. So with that
Lenny and Mary
said,
Gary, I'll see you in a bit.
We're going to take down all the ornaments here.
We're melting.
We're going to take you guys out, hang out a moment.
I will not.
And everybody have a great week. We love you. Peace.